Hey guys, I'm here. Are we ready to record? Are we ready to do the podcast?
Sarah, read the room.
Yeah, Nick died last week. It's just gonna be the three of us recording tonight.
Are you f***ing with me? Nick's right there.
No, he's dead.
No, Nick's right there.
Yeah, right. So you're saying this empty space right here? Nick's right behind me, so if I kiss this, I'll be kissing Nick?
Yeah, and Nick is somewhere in limbo out there humping my leg, right?
And if Nick was really here, he'd be all over Brian. And as you can see, he's clearly not here.
You're next. You know what? Let's humor Sarah. It's the holiday season. Everyone gets a Christmas wish, right? So my Christmas wish is to bring Nick back from the dead.
It worked! Nick's back!
That worked? I wasted my Christmas wish on Nick? Fuck! Recording at 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California at Undercity Comics. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 125. My name is Brian.
Renee.
And Nick.
And welcome to the show! No mistakes, clean run for issue 125. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Round of applause, I mean.
I mean, no more Brian's mistakes.
No more you mistakes, Mr. I forget every
Brian.
issue number.
I was fine last week.
Sure, good job. Give yourself a pat on the back.
I give
right?
myself a pat on the back every night.
Before you go to bed?
Yeah.
Good job.
Myself
Guys,
a
go
pat
check
on the
out
back
Keeping
this
It
morning.
with Go check out keepingitwiththenerds.com for all the up-to-date information, and don't forget to check out our socials on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you guys have not been subscribed to our YouTube channel, go on over, go subscribe, check us out on YouTube so you can see all of our beautiful faces.
My
And-
beautiful face.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be introducing our special guest in a second because you should also be listening to us on audio platforms. With that said, our final guest of the month of guests is here. A returner. My best friend, one of my best friends, cosplayer, artist, muralist, Sarah Heck. Welcome back.
I'm back, baby!
Also, did we all have a... Was there a memo to wear a hat today? Was it in the...
Oh,
I usually wear.
Was there a memo to wear a hat? Like, I just noticed we all wore hats.
I was too lazy to do my hair this morning.
I was far too lazy to do my hair. Also, I wanted to show off my little pin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
I wanted to show them off.
Mine's in my bag. I don't know where my bag is.
Oh, I thought
Should put it on your
it
hat.
was Slade from Teen Titans for a moment because I only saw
No.
the top, but I see it's Charmander in a little outfit. Is it Darth Vader?
He's Darth
Yeah.
Vader.
It's Charmander, Darth
It's our
Vader.
gift from our first
Charmander is
guest.
a little leather daddy.
Oh.
It's the gift from Lewis from our
Yeah.
first.
So
for the first guest.
here's a fun fact, because last time Sarah was here,
Yes.
she quizzed us. She was,
On
you know,
us.
on us. She
Yes.
quizzed us on us, and
Yeah.
apparently she like knew everything and kind of like called us out, like broke a bunch of ceilings and made
Yeah.
us realize like
Yeah.
what we said and what we
so,
did.
So this time we're gonna quiz you on the things you do.
Was that a notepad? But here's a fun fact. Sarah, I think to this day, still has the top spot for the most viewed video on her channel.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
I?
Yes, it's the
It's
most
the
popular
skit.
video we've
How
The
done.
skit.
embarrassing.
It's the skit.
It's the skit.
It's an honor.
I'm
So-
so I'm unsure if whether it's the fact that we're insinuating penises
That's the video that's
or it's Star Wars.
it's the one demonetized, right? Because we used
Because Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's the
That
only it's the only video that
sucks.
is like you cannot make money. Like you
Yeah,
can
it's our
never
most
make money
popular
on
one.
this.
But
Yeah.
it's so funny
Can
because it
never
was
make
all
money.
innuendos,
Mhm.
and I don't think
It was the
It's-
music.
yeah.
It's the music at the
Yeah,
end.
we
You
used
can-
John Williams' score. That's why.
He
You
used-
cannot
the-
put anything Star Wars. Like
Yeah,
it automatically gets
Yeah.
demonetized.
John Williams is like, nope.
John
One note.
Williams is like,
Okay.
It's like the piano from that one, or what is it? The Green Day song that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, and then automatically you know.
And it's because John Williams also felt embarrassed because he thought we were talking about penises.
Yeah.
And he was just like, are they talking about penises?
Nope,
And then-
not on
and
my
when we-
watch.
And when we started making fun of Brian, he was like, oh, demonetized.
Okay, in hindsight, we should have done like a recording of all of us like harmonizing, like going like me, 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 me.
That's what we were thinking,
Or, like,
actually.
That was,
Yeah.
I remember that was a conversation.
That
we
was
had.
a
Did you
con-
try
yeah.
that at one
Yeah,
point?
and apparently, oh, that's right, because it got demonetized.
Yeah, it still got
It's
Oh
still
wait,
does.
still did?
because it can pick up like the
It picks the
notes.
tonation.
Yeah.
So unless you alter it completely, like if you have to change the notes, you have to cut it out of certain areas. Yeah,
That's dumb.
it's weird.
I think she also is in the most watched minicast when we were doing those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in the top spot
That's
and
why
the
we talked
and
about
the
internals.
yeah, and the top
Right?
5.
Oh, that was when we were talking about
Cool.
Eternals.
Yeah.
Wow.
My
So
main-
fun
A
fact.
while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah, Eternals was out. Oh my god.
So
that was a weird time in Marvel history, but we will get to that. It is still a weird time in Marvel and Star Wars history in a little
yes,
bit.
definitely. So we definitely want to know more about you and what you've been up to. So we're going to interview you and talk about your cosplaying because you've done some great cosplays over the last year.
You're in a great cosplay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm
Yeah,
in
no-
half of a great cosplay.
I
because
wonder-
I didn't want to wear the pants.
I wonder how people could see the cosplay that she's wearing.
Yeah.
If they just go on YouTube, not .com/ because we don't have that yet. But if they go find Keeping Up with the Nerds on YouTube, they could totally see that she's wearing a Jinx cosplay.
Kind of. I'm not in the wig because I didn't want to be in the wig for 3 hours.
But
Or
you brought some
however long
stuff.
her hair-
Yeah, that was.
I did.
Yeah.
I brought some stuff that we'll show you later. if
There
you're
you
a
go.
video
I like
viewer
picking on
on
it, but-
YouTube.
See, natural. And she says she's embarrassed to be on camera, but
I'm
look at her.
so
She's holding it.
scared.
She's like, you don't get to see anything. Not yet. Not till about an hour in.
She hasn't even shown off the other thing.
Oh.
It's coming.
It's
It's
out.
big.
It's
That's not an
perfectly-
innuendo. It's an actual really cool piece.
Might be an innuendo. We don't know. You have to watch to find out. Just saying. Watch YouTube.
You gotta watch. You got
Yeah.
tips.
Sarah, thank you for being back on the show. And we've actually reformatted a couple things. Last year, we were kind of like all over the place, but we're a little more organized this time around.
We are.
Still same chaotic trio as you knew last year,
Yeah.
but organized. So
Definitely.
we're going to talk about. We're going to actually go into comic strips. It's a new segment that we have on the show for the new listeners where we kind of talk about the little bits and news that have kind of come out throughout the week that really don't deserve a full 30 to 45-minute conversation. So we've only got 2 pieces of news today because we have one pretty big, hefty topic before we interview Sarah. So are we ready to start it off?
Sure.
Let's
Awesome.
do it.
Yeah, excitement. All right. So we have come to a point where big name directors have started to come out with their movies, and they've done what they usually do whenever they're about to release a movie or slowly start to lose relevance. And that one of these directors is Quentin Tarantino.
That whole wind up, I disagree with, but okay.
When has Tarantino in the last maybe year been relevant? Cameron is relevant because of Avatar.
It was 4 years ago before the pandemic.
4 years ago. I'm talking about this year.
That was
Once upon
before
a
the
time in
pandemic.
Hollywood, right?
Yes.
That was his last big one.
That's when he talked about it. But for whatever reason, he's coming out in interviews and basically kind of talked about the era of movies that we're in. So he
Yes.
talked about how the golden age is far behind us already, and that we're in a new era of movies where kind of they're not movies. You know, you were mentioning before that it's harder for independent filmmakers to go in and put out a movie.
And I feel like that's what he was saying.
Yes.
That's not for the full crux of what he was saying was he goes it's not like the 90s where independent filmmaker could just make a movie and he could take it to a studio and then he can get it published. He goes, studios are manufacturing these universes and they are putting their entire budget into these worlds, and they have to follow the cinematic universe model, and if it doesn't fit into that, then it's not an interesting movie and we're not going to do it.
He said it in a more Tarantino way, though.
But he said it in a very
He said it probably like, these guys.
Well, he also
I
mentioned
said
that.
the first cuss word of the episode. I'm sorry, Brian. But no,
It's early on.
he probably said it in like these
Well,
The weird obsessive with feet way.
Yeah.
well, he mentioned it in a way where it's like actors are not. People are not following actors; they're following the characters that they play. They
Yes,
get
that
more
was
famous.
another point that he said.
They
Yes.
get more
Exactly.
famous than the actors do and stuff.
Yes.
Which is,
Yeah.
you
Which is
know,
not wrong.
He's
It's
not,
not wrong.
He's
as
not
a
wrong.
person that understands film because he's one of the great names out there in like the last half century, right? He's
Yeah.
a big name. He's not wrong in what he's saying. It's just that it's kind of like criticizing a faction of filmmaking that you're not a part in or have no interest in because how do you say his name? Because I keep butchering.
Quentin Tarantino?
Not Quentin Tarantino.
Simon Liu.
Simu Liu.
Simon Liu
Yeah.
went on Twitter
Oh yes.
and replied to this statement
Mm-hmm.
basically saying that he doesn't agree with Tarantino
Mm-hmm.
because Shang-Chi was his big break.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for movies like the MCU
Mm-hmm.
or that are a part of the MCU,
Mhm.
actors wouldn't be getting their breaks. Not only that, but he kind of ended his statement with saying like, the golden age of filmmaking had a lot of white people
Mhm.
and not a lot of other people
Which again,
from different backgrounds.
that's another side where you can't really argue what he means because you kind of see what he means by it
hmm
with this new direction that Marvel's doing, where it's more diverse now. A lot more people of color and different ethnicities are getting the spotlight now, which is good.
You're getting people of the correct background playing characters that
Mhm.
they should be playing on screen and as voice actors as well.
As lead roles. Yeah.
But my thing is that I feel that because in Tarantino's comment, he wasn't talking smack about the actual MCU
No.
or the DCU. He was more talking smack about the studios
As
themselves.
like a whole.
As a whole,
Yeah.
as the industry,
Yeah.
Mhm.
they are less likely to pick the Clerks, the Desperados. They're less likely
The
to pick
Boondock
the
Saints.
Boondocks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're less likely to pick these movies because those are gambles. Whereas if I can put a superhero on the screen, it's gonna get way more. It's gonna get it. There's more guarantee of me getting my return back,
Mhm.
Yes.
and that's more or less where Quentin Tarantino was going for, because he even said too. He goes, I have no interest in doing a superhero movie. People want me to do a superhero movie. I have no interest in it unless it was Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos.
This kind of brings to mind something that Cameron said this week, actually,
James
about
Cameron?
Avatar 2. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because he was saying that the movie, Cameron, ladies and gentlemen, James Cameron just saying a bunch of stuff that's kind of weird.
Oh, you.
Uh,
James Cameron.
and what's his name? Nolan, too.
And Nolan. Okay. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
He was saying that Avatar 2 needs to break the top 3
Yeah.
Of most-
biggest movies.
because in order for Avatar 2 to make any profit.
Yes.
And if Avatar 2 doesn't make a profit, then he's not going to make an Avatar 3.
Three.
Okay, cool.
So I guess we're not getting Avatar 3.
I guess we're not, yeah.
Hold on.
He's setting himself up for failure.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing though, is that, but I feel like that's the budget though. I feel like I've spent so much money in research and development for these cameras that can operate underwater and these and the actual technology to
It's
make
CG and
Avatar
stuff.
2 and the amount of money that they put into CGI, that in order for me to make money and for the studio to have made money on researching this new technology, we would have to break into that. But I also was saying that a couple of weeks ago when Avatar came back out into theaters, that was what he was aiming for. He was aiming to reclaim that market and kind of go, okay, cool, we're gonna have 4 and 3 or 2 and 3. Honestly, I don't feel the market was there though. I didn't see. I honestly, I think maybe some people went to go see Avatar, but I never passed it and went a line out the door going, we're
Yeah.
going to go see Avatar again.
I
No.
totally agree with you because when it came out, I was like, blue people, that's cool. It
Yeah.
looks interesting. I'll see it when it's not in theaters. I saw it when it wasn't in theaters. It was so long
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it was good, but also low key, it's a ripoff of Ferngully and Pocahontas.
Dancing with Wolves.
Come on,
Yeah.
it's a really basic premise,
Mhm.
but I feel like that's a key to it reaching such a wide audience.
Yeah.
But I watched it once, maybe 12 years ago. The timeline's weird. I don't remember when it actually came out, but
2010.
sure, great, 12 years ago. Oh
Yeah.
my
12
God,
years
it's
ago, yeah.
accurate.
You were
But I never had the desire to rewatch it, and the fact that people are so hyped for a sequel, I don't understand. I don't see who is so hyped up for this.
So when Avatar first came out, right? Because I and this goes back to Tarantino's comments about what he's talking about, the interest in film and stuff like that, right? Avatar was supposed to be that groundbreaking film that was unlike any other, because this was released around the time where that kind of technology, where full on CG, depictions of individuals, you have them, doing it, acting in full body suits and portraying this kind of thing. It's never been done before, and James Cameron broke that barrier. And at the time in 2010, it was beautiful. It was great.
Yeah.
I went to go see it when it re-released not that long ago. And yeah, it's a long movie. The story drags. It's still an interesting movie, but it's not that movie that's like it just doesn't hold up. Like a must-see if you've seen it before.
If you've seen it once, it's kind of like you don't need to revisit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My understanding of, what Tarantino is saying, right? Going back to that idea, is that I get it, because you have to look at it from two different perspectives. You have to look at it from the production studio perspective of, are they interested in spending the hundreds of thousands to tens of millions of dollars of developing this movie if it's not going to make any profit when it hits theaters? And then you have the other aspect of it. Is the audience going to show any interest in it? So when we look at, they're not technically original like IPs, because Bullet Train is based off a book, right? The Northman is original. But you have those movies that aren't cinematic universes that we went to go see and said, "Oh, that's a great movie. That's a hard recommendation."
But Northman is the outlier. It's few to all the books or the prequels or the sequels or the remakes or anything else.
The Barbarian is another one.
The Barbarian. You get like these interesting movies that you get in between. But like, okay, look at Clerks 3 that came out this year. That was very minimal release in a certain market, with maybe 2 showings, and then it was Kevin Smith actually purchasing it and putting it in movie theaters.
So the other one, you went on Our Real Addiction, our sister podcast, by the way. Go check them out here on the channel, YouTube, or on Keeping Up with the Nerds, or wherever you get your audio platforms. For Our Real Addiction, you were on it.
Yes.
You talked about The Menu.
Yes.
And you went to go see that. Again, another original IP, but it has those big names, specifically Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Is in it, right? So that's the thing, though, is that did you recommend that movie?
I did.
It's good?
It's very good. Very well done. I think I said on the show, like, you should watch it because I think you would like it. It's very interesting because the way they tackle food and how they present it and shoot it, you would love it.
I know my parents went to go see it, and then immediately as they came back, they came to talk to me and they were like, "You need to go watch this movie.
Yeah,
you would love it."
And that's how those movies get across now, right? But back then, when the internet was still in its infancy, that's how movies got across. They recommended word of mouth. Hey, go watch this movie. Go do this. Go do that. Right now on the internet, everyone's able to talk each other. It's a blessing and a curse. You're able to say and recommend a movie. This movie's great. But we saw it with Halo, where there was a lot of props for that series when the series wasn't that good. So there's also that aspect of it being a curse.
I want to hear about this because I know your fiance was watching it religiously.
Yeah.
With Brian.
How are you enjoying that show when it first came out?
Because how was that as like a bystander watching?
As a bystander who live in the same dwelling.
I can tell you that I heard Sarah in the background at times because it was John with the mic, right? His headset, and he's wearing one with the mic that's like this close, right?
This
to his
close,
face.
and you'd hear me like this far, being like, "Come on!" Literally, like, I'm a fan of the Halo franchise. I'm not a gamer girl, but I'm a game appreciator where I watch videos of people play video games because I love that. I love the stories. I just can't. I'm good at Animal Crossing and Minecraft, but not like first-person shooters or whatever. But I appreciate and love the stories. Right. Halo was a freaking train wreck.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But it had really fun moments at the same time.
Go ahead and bring your mic a little bit closer.
Thank you.
There you go.
Reminding me.
There you go. No, you're good.
No, it was visually stunning. It was really horribly written, and I wish that he only took his mask off or helmet off maybe like twice in the whole series, and it wasn't off all the time, because we weren't watching our Master Chief, we were watching an actor pretending to be John.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not our Master Chief.
He's not
But-
our
He's
Master
his
Chief.
Master Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my master.
I'm not, you guys are towing a line right now, and I don't want to go down there. So, but for Tarantino, I do see Simon Liu's point of view of diversity, and these superhero movies are really starting, but they're only starting to. They're only really starting to pushing the whole. We're gonna make we're gonna make some ethnic changes to certain people, or we're gonna getting more people of color. I mean, if you look at the first Avengers team, that's a bunch of white people.
Yeah,
like it's
all
there's a
white.
bunch of
was a bunch of white
Caucasians.
people.
It was a bunch of Caucasian people.
No, there's a
It's-
green man. What are you talking
Oh
about?
my god, bro.
That doesn't count.
I thought you were gonna say no, Nick
His name is-
Fury.
His name
Can't
is
even help
Bruce
out Sam
Banner.
Jackson, man.
Bruce
like-
Bacon.
But it was the Hulk. It wasn't Bruce Banner. It was the Hulk. The Hulk is his own individual,
But-
right?
but
Big
that's-
angry green man.
But that's what I'm saying,
I'm
though,
not
is
trying
that
to
it. But that was the foundation that they had built the MCU on
Mhm.
for like the longest time,
Yeah.
and then not until we started getting past the original class of Avengers
Yeah.
did we start getting this ethnic diversity within the MCU.
Yeah.
So to go with Quentin Tarantino's comments, it's a lot better than Scorsese's comments, because Scorsese was talking about it where like those movies are just trash, like they're
Yeah.
just garbage movies.
Also, Dennis Villeneuve is how you pronounce his name. Arrival, Dune director. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of went around the same route. But look, we said it before in previous issues where we said that these directors making these comments are only saying it partially because they agree, but the other aspect of it is they're releasing a movie and they want those movies to make profit. So
yeah,
the way you
they want
tie
that
their
hate
movie,
watch.
exactly.
But the thing
Oh,
is that Tarantino
Yes.
doesn't have a movie coming out. Tarantino was doing an interview
Yeah, it was just
for something. He was just doing an interview.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they asked him a question. It's not like he like out of nowhere brought it up.
No, yeah.
Somebody asked him a question of like, "Hey, like, what do you think of the MCU?"
Yeah.
And then he then went into this whole thing. But you have to also know, Tarantino, came up as an independent filmmaker. He's only made 8 films. Or 9 films at this point.
Wait, does he
with-
have one more to go, or is
He says he only has like one more, but he might do another.
Okay.
But
It
he's
depends on how you
yeah, it
feel.
really just depends on how he feels.
This is the same man that said, "I'm not filming Hateful Eight because y'all released my screenplay to the public and leaked it."
That was a thing.
Yeah.
Well, was the
That's
thing, yeah.
right.
He's
Yeah,
like,
'cause-
I'm gonna make a play. I'm gonna make like on stage a live performance.
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool. There
It
was a
would've
live
sold.
reading.
It
No,
would've
the
sold.
the screenplay got leaked. Then he was like, I'm not doing it. Then they did a live reading of it, and he said, I'm never making a movie. And then literally like a month later, he's like, I'm making a movie.
but that's the thing though, is that you have a filmmaker like this, not the Scorsese's or anything else. He understands the back. He's talking more the back end. He's talking about studios. He's talking about the opportunities it gives like newer directors and everything else. And that's what he was more talking about.
Now, to kind of transition into the next topic,
Yeah.
right? Because we do have something else to talk about. So Simu Liu has a good point, right? But it's not just actors that get kind of noticed in these universe movies, these big budget movies that the studios are producing. You also have producers and directors that end up coming from doing small independent films
Yeah.
like Slither
Mhm.
and then end up making big franchises to then heading massive departments in these studios. Why Slither? James Gunn.
Mhm.
James Gunn just released the...
That was James
That was James
Yeah,
Gunn.
that was James Gunn.
Yeah, he released the holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy short
Right.
movie that came out on Disney Plus as of recording today. Great movie.
Mhm.
Now, what's great about James Gunn is this: he's one of the few directors / producers / screenplay writers that's very active on Twitter. And so when he's active on Twitter, he is very wholesome for the type of person that, for the type of filmmaker that he is, and he loves to respond to people that hate with some wholesome comments.
Yes.
So one of the comments that was made was he was very enthusiastic about the fact that the holiday special was about to be released, and he loved the set design. And someone made some weird comment about the set design, how it's not like practical or anything like that. And he replied by retweeting it. It's a quote tweet where he said, "Most of my sets for the movies are practical sets," which in this special you definitely notice.
Oh yeah. There-
100%.
it was very well crafted.
Yes. I was even telling Andy, because we watched it earlier today.
For like a 45-minute special.
I mean, granted, it's a 45-minute special, and they use the same set design for like
80% of it.
80% of it, and then the rest of it was filmed like outside with Kevin Bacon basically running down the street and stuff like that, right?
And
It was
Mantis going, give me all your money.
It was like they sectioned off like 3 blocks, and they went like, okay, cool. we're
The
good.
most amount of money they spent on sets was closing down
Streets.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
that
For
was
that,
probably
like,
really
yeah.
expensive.
That was it. That was all they
Yeah.
did, and but James Gunn again.
In all fairness, you probably didn't even need to close it down. Just take a camera down there and just let people actually react to seeing Mantis and
Sure.
and
Or
Drax
even-
and just
They
record
could
it.
have done that whole thing in like 2 hours, probably.
Maybe a little bit longer. A day. I would say
It
like a
definitely
day.
probably take a
Probably a
day.
day of filming,
Sure.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
all you.
It'll probably be a couple hours because you only had sunlight for so long.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
Well, yeah. Okay, we're gonna. Well, it could have been this. It could have been that.
I'm
Oh, it
just
could have
saying,
been that.
it's all during the day. They didn't have that much sunlight. all right?
But that's the thing, is that you have James Gunn, who basically started out as a screenplay writer who, if you didn't know, he directed what is it called, Dawn of the Dead,
Mhm.
with Zack Snyder. He co-wrote it
Yeah.
with Zack Snyder. While I think the first movie he did that was kind of big, B-listed, was Slither. And then he went on to basically do his big name was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is hilarious because in a lot of those, he just brought Michael Rooker along.
But he also did that. I've never seen it, but he did that superhero movie with Rainn Wilson and
Super.
formerly Ellen Page.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did do
Super.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
did
right.
one.
That
Yeah,
was,
he did do that one.
I think that I haven't seen it, but I've seen videos about it, and it's very
It's kick-ass light.
it's kick-ass like, and it has like that Guardians of the Galaxy like quick humor,
Yeah.
but it is like a really dark comedy superhero action movie.
It very much is a dark comedy because
Yeah.
at a certain point, him and Elliot Page are. He's like willing to give up his partner,
Yeah.
so that way he can make it out of a certain situation. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty messed up.
So we got about 5 minutes before we have to wrap up comic strips to talk about our main topic for today's show. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the holiday special, go ahead and skip 5 minutes over so that way you guys don't get it spoiled. It's 45 minutes released on there. Great holiday film. If you want to go watch it, go for it, then come back to the podcast. But what did we think about the
What is
holiday special?
James Gunn's PG porn. I
No.
want to know what that is. I
He
just
also
saw it
did
on
Scooby Doo. Also, I forgot.
Oh,
he did
that's right.
Yes, he did do
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
it's Scooby
Oh,
Doo.
of course,
Totally forgot about that.
He
Yeah.
made both Scooby Doos.
Yeah.
Oh my
No, he
God.
wrote one, directed one.
Those are some of my favorite movies
Yes.
ever. I
Okay.
rewatch them
Those are solid movies.
at least a couple times a year. They're so good.
So what do we
Yes.
think about the holiday special?
Oh, loved it.
I
It was super fun.
Yeah, I think for a holiday special, anything with Christmas or the holidays, I feel like it automatically gets a stamp of approval. It made me feel something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It made me feel touched, or it made me feel joy, or it made me feel in the holiday spirits in some way, some shape. And I feel like it did that. I feel like the holiday special had a lot of heart to it. It's a short movie, very easy concept, but it was fun.
I just want to know why James Gunn says. I feel like James Gunn is the type of director and screenwriter. You give him a hat with just a bunch of papers in it, right? You give him the idea, the ending, and then you like basically have him choose whatever characters he wants. He plays every screenplay on hard mode because this entire movie is based off the two characters that really are more like sidebars than anything else.
Yeah.
Drax
They
and
work
Mantis.
together so well.
Yeah,
They
they
work
do.
really well together. But
Yeah.
let's be honest, who really cared about Mantis besides her being like a very, oh, she's so cute, she's so this and so that after the second movie.
Right.
And Drax is more of like the punchliner, the guy that goes like, what is it? Who is he? Where is he? Or what's
Where's
his?
Gamora?
Where's
Why
Gamora?
is Gamora?
Why is Gamora? He's a one punchler, right? He's a one
Yeah.
punchliner.
Yeah.
So you have this movie where they basically go out on this adventure to go find Kevin Bacon, the legendary Kevin Bacon, and it's just joke after joke after joke.
Yeah.
And you're definitely 100% right. There is that wholesome element at the end because, spoiler alert, Mantis ends up being the half sister of Quill.
Yeah. Peter.
Yes.
Yes. So it gives you that very wholesome, heartwarming message at the end.
Which me and Renee were talking about it before the show, and we were like, "It's not a far leap." Like, I
No.
like as soon as she said,
because
as soon as she
it's
said
never
it,
explained how she ends up with
ego.
his
Yeah.
yeah, with ego. It's never really explained.
Mhm.
So it's a little hokey, but I enjoy it, and I
But-
think it's cute because they have that camaraderie and that they're like siblings.
And it
kind
all
of.
and it also
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense too because ego kills all of the kids that he can't find use for.
But
If
he has
you're
use for
useless,
her.
And he has use for her, so that way she can put him to sleep. So immediately it was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, because she had a purpose, so that's why he kept her alive.
Mhm.
She probably just didn't have the celestial powers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, what did you think of the movie as a whole? Like, what parts did you enjoy?
Okay, I thought it was, of course, it was very hokey, very cheesy, but I think it was super fun. And I loved seeing Mantis more like expressive and emotive versus her usually being like, I'm awkward and sleep. Where she got like angry, and she like the part where they're at the bar and she has the drink and she's like, give me another.
Like, it tastes disgusting, but I want more.
Yeah. She was very cute. And then again, the scene where she's like, you want to give me the map for free and then give me all your money. It was just, I really enjoyed it. It was very fun. It was very cute.
Do you want your weird little man or to save Christmas?
He has like an existential
He
crisis
does.
about the whole thing.
Or what was
So
it? The cop car flips over,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
she's
Oh, yeah,
like,
she's like,
and then she,
yeah.
and the
Now
first
we're
thing.
even.
No, but it's not the first thing that she has to do was. Does this look like a man? Like, does this look like a little? Not. Are you okay?
Yeah.
For
Like,
clarification.
yeah. Like, does it look like a little man? And they were
So
like,
funny.
no. And they were like, why? And she's just like, nothing. My
I
partner's
give
just
you
an idiot."
this. We're even
Yeah.
now.
Exactly, yeah.
What was your favorite part, Renee?
I thoroughly liked Mantis as a whole, as a character. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
she did a great job, and it made me. And then I also did enjoy that we got a little bit of Cosmo the dog,
Yeah.
because we're gonna get more in the third one.
Good. I
So-
love Cosmo.
I think overall this was a great way of like, and I think we talked about it when you got here. It's like rekindling that love for Guardians again.
Yeah.
Where it's like, because we haven't seen them in anything since maybe I guess Thor: Love and Thunder, but that wasn't even like enough.
They were there
That's
and they
the thing.
pieced out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was really kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm excited for Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Now. You know, I'm really interested to see where it's going to go with all these new characters, and then also with that, you know, new relationship between Peter and Mantis now.
Yeah.
Because it felt really genuine when you watch it and you see the look in Peter's face when he finds out that he has a half sister.
Yeah.
Because you could tell he was alone the entire time.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't feel that.
Yeah.
That was the best
Yeah.
Christmas present that you
Yeah.
could have gotten.
Yes.
Yeah, which is interesting because the entire movie, man, and that's what I mean by making you feel something, because
Mhm.
it's one of those things of, you know, Mantis is dreading telling him this information
Yeah.
because she doesn't know how he's going to take it, you know,
Mhm.
seeing as, oh yeah, Mantis, you know, his dad was a dick and
Yeah.
everything else, you know, how, I don't know how he's going to really take that information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to then have him, you know, hug her also, because I have to admit my favorite scene was Yondu.
Mhm.
The two Yondu scenes
Oh,
are
yeah.
my
At the
favorite.
ending-
That
And then you
animation
see-
was kind of
Storybookish.
Yeah.
very
That's what it was. But that, I
story-
think that was the point that he was trying to do is
Yeah.
James Gunn has a purpose for everything he includes in his movies.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was trying to make it like a Christmas Carol book
yeah.
animation.
A Christmas
Yeah.
Carol or like and I really enjoyed that because that's the thing that, because I feel like anything with Yondu and Peter always like that's
They
an
have
easy
a chemistry.
and it's an easy
sure.
it's an easy like, you know, like tug on the heartstrings,
Yeah.
especially since it's so funny because it explains something from the first one, from
The
the
little
first
doll.
Guardians,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's the little
His
doll.
little trinket.
You can
Yeah.
see on Yondu's thing that he has collected little trinkets for
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're like, this is such a weird quirk.
Yeah.
Like, where did this start? Like, why does he have this quirk?
Mhm.
And then to then do
It's
a
his-
full circle.
His pseudo son.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the collection started with his son
Mhm.
giving it to him on his first Christmas.
And that with that same idea, the fact that it's revealed that Quill's
Guns.
guns are from Yondu, it was very wholesome and
It's
very
a
sweet.
good Christmas story.
It's very
Yeah, and that's what I mean of like he's able to like go full circle because he takes a bad story. Because Kraglin views that story as Peter's worst Christmas.
Which, mind you, we get to finally know that Sean Gunn's name and the whole thing was Cragglin. I was like, that was his name. I'm all
You
like,
got it in the other movies.
got
It
it
just
in the-
no, but
wasn't
no one really said it a lot.
Yeah.
You just
That's
say
the thing.
it's James Gunn's.
Yeah.
Sean Gunn.
That's Sean Gunn.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone
But,
said it
What's
was
his
just
name
Sean
from
Gunn.
the character that he plays in Gilmore Girls?
He's a
I don't
Kirk,
know.
thank
I've
you.
never
Thank
seen
you, Kirk.
Gilmore Girls.
Thank you,
I've
man.
never
Yeah.
seen Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
It was like
You're
it's
on your own
Kirk.
there.
Yeah.
Like,
You just talked to an empty room right now.
No,
with
Andy's in the
with
back.
Andy all the way at the other end.
Live audience, ladies and gentlemen.
Just going like, don't worry, babe, I got you. I'm not gonna leave you hanging.
Now we have to credit her as associate producer at the bottom. Before we wrap up this topic, there was one thing I would want to note. This movie also kind of showed off that James Gunn could do anything he wants in movies because they allowed the speaking of Bruce Wayne Batman
Yeah.
to be mentioned in here, which technically speaking, you don't really want to say, but it was so freely used.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like acknowledged to that point where it was just like, oh, so you're basically like Batman essentially, or Bruce Wayne. And then Drax responds with, who's Bruce Wayne? Which is such a great line. I was like, all right.
It's funny, and I think it's okay if you have the idea of, because it is supposed to be the real world. Honestly, even if you were to have the DC universe exist inside the Marvel universe, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're movies. Like, those are 100% movies. Like, I think that's fine.
It's great. No, but again, there's that respect, because if it were anyone else, I don't think Kevin Feige would have greenlit that thing.
That's true.
It was James Gunn.
I feel like that's also a Kevin Bacon thing of like, we have Kevin Bacon for like an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
No Tremors reference. There was everything else.
Honestly, Tremors is such a niche movie, dude.
Yeah.
The fact that you wanted
I knew you weren't gonna get
I knew you weren't going to get a
that.
Tremors
Yeah.
reference.
Shame. But he did save a town with dancing.
Yeah.
He
great.
talked about it.
Which
Challenge with
I
dancing,
liked how they impact that with Kevin Bacon and how he took that. It's like Peter watched Footloose as a kid.
Yeah.
And that's how he saved the universe. That's what
Yeah, that's a
inspired
really
him.
good detail. Yeah.
It was a good little detail where you're kind of like, oh, okay. It was like, that was cute.
Drax
That's
was
cute.
like, you saved a town with dancing.
Yeah.
Peter saved the universe with dancing.
Yeah.
Like it was a cute time.
It was
It was
good.
cute.
It was good. Yeah. The whole special was wholesome. As
It was
hell.
great.
I loved it.
So that wraps up comic strips for this issue. Are we ready to move on to our main topic?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not getting away from Disney. Not yet, anyways. Disney's in our lives. It's wrapped us. It's it's a part of us now.
Force.
You're wearing Disney, Renee. No, you're not. No, you actually are,
It's
because he's a
Nickelodeon.
part of Disney now.
Who?
Who?
Avatar.
How?
They're their own studio.
No, freaking. What's the writer?
Nickelodeon.
He's in the
Blue
Mandalorian.
people?
Oh, are you talking about Dave Filoni?
Dave Filoni. There you go.
Oh
He's
my
in-
god!
Yeah, I couldn't make that connection.
That was a hop, skip,
That
and a
was-
leap.
Yeah, that was very.
Somehow he went
Yeah.
from doing his own stuff, and then Disney came over and was like,
Listen,
"Come over here."
that was a hop, skip, and a leap, dude. But okay,
He's still there.
take
He's
it.
still there.
I'll take it. Yeah. It's
Are you
fine.
wearing a Batman sweater?
I am wearing a Batman sweater.
Oh, but I'm also wearing Disney because Rick and
Disney,
Morty.
That's not Rick and Morty is
FX.
Warner.
Oh no,
Warner.
never mind. It's Adult Swim.
Yeah,
It's owned by
no.
Warner.
Point being, we're talking about Disney. We're back.
It's owned by
Why are we
Discovery.
talking? Huh?
What? Shh, keep going.
Okay, we're talking about Disney.
Keep going, dude.
Yes. Why are we talking about Disney? Well, Andor just ended,
Yes.
right? And Andor has received nothing.
None of you watched it.
None of us. But Andor has received nothing but amazing praise from the people that have watched it. 8s, 9s, 10s, masterpiece is what it's being called.
It's good.
It's apparently it's great.
Well, this is
Amazing.
me when like people are like, you should watch Endor. I'm like, you're right.
I should.
I
Next
should.
week.
That's the exact response that I also
Right?
get.
So, alongside with that, we've noticed that Disney has just been popping shows left and right as
you guys know
well.
the premise of Andor? Like what it? what
Don't
it's
tell
about?
us.
Kinda yes, because we saw a preview
Rogue
when
One.
we
We
watched,
saw the
Prequel
we saw
Rogue
the
One.
first episode
It's not
together
even a
amongst
prequel to Rogue
you,
One.
John,
They're prequel
me,
to
and
But
Rogue
Andy.
even before that, when we saw
Oh.
Rogue One in theaters again, they gave the little spiel.
It
and
was just
yeah.
funny that it was just so funny because I remember seeing that of like, oh yeah, watch Rogue One so that way you can be prepared for Andor. And
But it's a prequel.
Yeah, but I thought it was so funny because I remember I watched all of Andor and I went, none of Rogue One has anything to do.
It's more like his character in Rogue One, but no, yeah, I agree with you.
And there's a
it's-
second season that's being developed as we speak.
Which
Really?
they are saying that they're already in talks with Alan Tudyk,
Ooh.
so that way they can get K2SO
The
back.
legendary Alan Tudyk.
Love
Yeah,
that one.
they're
Did you watch the
They're gonna-
Disenchanted movie that just came out?
It was so good.
I actually watched
I
it.
really
have
liked it.
feelings about that movie. I
Really?
haven't watched it yet. Enchanted is one of my favorite Disney movies of all
Mhm,
time.
yeah.
It's so perfect. It's so rewatchable. When the trailer came out, at least 10 different people sent me the trailer because they know I love that movie and I've
Right.
cosplayed that movie. I was like, oh God, why?
Did you
My
not
first
like
thought-
Disenchanted?
I haven't seen it.
She
Oh, I
hasn't
see.
seen it
The
yet.
trailer didn't
The trailer
fire.
just
Yeah.
like I was
think-
just like, why?
Yeah.
Why is she gonna be the villain?
Well, I like
just-
the creativity of that, the thought behind that.
Well, sure,
Where
of
I like
course.
where it's like, oh, she's technically a stepmother. So in a
Exactly.
fairy tale
No,
like
that's smart.
premise, yeah.
Yes.
But I just don't.
How do-
Enchanted is such a perfect film.
Mhm.
It didn't need it.
So-
I'm just saying in general.
I do agree with you there where it didn't really need a sequel,
Yeah.
but with what they did with it, I actually ended up sitting down and watching it. It made me respect
Before
the
you-
it doesn't.
idea.
It doesn't
And
take anything
people-
away.
Sure, but people are either like they loved it or
Mhm.
they didn't like it. It's so divided.
Now
from
I'm
what
gonna
I've heard.
I'm gonna say this, okay? So with the slate of Disney proper or Disney stuff that has been coming out over the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks, right? This is how I'm gonna put everything kind of in a line.
Yeah.
You have Andor, which is considered to be a Star Wars masterpiece.
Oh, it's top tier.
Okay, then you have Disenchanted, which to some I would to me for this purpose it's mid.
I would
You
say
have
it's a
people
solid
that
B.
love it.
It's a solid
It's a
B.
solid B. It's mid. People will love it or people will hate it.
Yeah.
Then you have the Santa Clauses.
Oh my god.
My
Dude,
God.
which-
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think I've ever seen Tim Allen just bomb as
No.
hard as
So I will
ever have.
disagree with that. I think Tim Allen is the only good part about that. It's the only. It's if it wasn't for Tim Allen, trash. Like
Oh,
worse
I
than
see
trash.
what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still
If he
bad.
wasn't attached to it.
Yes,
This movie is worst. Is
not
worse.
movie show.
This
It's a
show.
series.
Okay, so this show.
It's already out.
Yeah.
It's already
It's
out.
four.
Yeah.
It's 3 episodes in, and I just think it's so funny that I feel like you get better acting in Halloween Town.
I
than
love
you-
Halloween Town.
I love Halloween Town too. But you know what? In the Halloween Town series, you know how like the more Halloween Towns that came out, the hokier the acting got.
Yeah. Are we already starting out with?
We've
the-
gotten to
Oh.
Halloween Town High.
By episode 1.
By
yeah.
episode 1, you're in
Yeah.
Halloween Town High,
That
where
hurts.
like
Like-
everyone is
Like
overacting.
we're getting
and-
like if
Is
if
there-
it was a
yeah.
Disney Channel movie now.
No.
Yes.
Not
Like-
like early 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
At least
That's a bummer.
yeah.
yeah, like it's not.
It's-
Oh yeah, we have Debbie Reynolds and we're taking this super seriously. It's like no, we have Tim Allen and like he's phoning it in the whole time.
Yeah.
But you know what? These 3 examples are a perfect example of what Disney, the studio, is kind of afraid to do, because the Santa Clauses is just a full on we're reusing a property that we know is really really great
From the
for
90s.
holidays and stuff, and we're just putting it back on the stage even if it's bad, but because everyone knows the Santa Claus.
It's just
Yeah.
Right?
rehashing the same.
It's
idea
rehashing.
over and over again.
Now,
Yeah.
to not spoil Disenchanted for you, I'm just going to say this.
Mhm.
The reason no, I'm not going to
Go
spoil it.
ahead.
No, it's not. It's a good movie and I really want you to watch it, because for me, at least, Disenchanted is a throwback to the original ways of Disney with their movies.
Yeah.
You have the quirky, really great songs, the musical portions that kind of like make you revisit the old like early 2000s
Yeah.
look of Disney, right? And then you have the practical sets that look really fake and cheesy, but they're still believable because it's Disney.
Yeah.
It's got a solid Disney storyline too.
You could see that Disney really put their back into it
Yeah.
with this movie. But the thing is that when I'm watching it, it reminds me, but I get very. Have you heard of that Disney Channel movie called The Descendants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't like The Descendants because it's a
that also a
wasted
TV show?
thought.
It's weird. It's
It's
a little weird.
To me, it's a wasted opportunity. They could have made it a bigger thing.
Yeah.
With
Because
better
you have like, oh yeah, it's the next generation of villains and stuff like that.
It feels
Kids-
very
yeah.
like Hallmarky.
Yeah,
Yes.
and when you
Yeah.
watch it, it's like, they don't. It's very low budget and not
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it and I'm like, this could have been what the Descendants could have been,
hmm
because it's so like big budget. They put a lot of
Mhm.
effort. Everyone's costumes were great for Disenchanted and stuff, which I
Yeah.
liked. That's the thing.
But it's old school Disney.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for the cast
Mhm.
playing characters that they love,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have had a great movie. Amy
Yeah.
Adams, you can tell, loves playing
I
her
love
character.
Amy Adams.
Also,
She's-
she has an amazing voice.
She's got an amazing
She
voice.
is-
She does.
It's a
have an
Muppet
amazing
movie.
voice.
Oh my
Oh
god.
god, the Muppets
I,
was great.
I saw that movie like 4 times in theaters.
I'm just,
I love
I'm
that
just saying.
movie.
Amy
I love the
Adams-
puppets, all right? I love the Muppets.
And Jason
That-
Simeon was
that-
great. too.
You know what? And I really have to say, Amy Adams really knows how to carry a movie, and she also
She
really knows how to
does.
be not only the like
She's so versatile.
she does,
Yeah.
she is, especially because people were having comments because they were like, well, Amy Adams obviously isn't going to be playing Lois Lane. She's too old to be playing
But
Lois
she's coming
Lane.
back. She wants to.
Yeah, and it's like, well, like Lois Lane can't be in her 40s. That makes no sense.
But
What, so
Henry
Lois Lane
Cavill
can't
like
age.
get
Yeah, she
their-
can't age. She has to
Yeah.
be stuck in her like late 20s, early 30s.
That's
But that
stupid.
makes no sense. I would love seeing a Lois Lane who takes over the Daily Planet.
That would be great.
Give me that Lois Lane.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah, have the characters age in the timeline that the movies are coming out.
But it's okay to have an aged Batman, but not Lois Lane, which is weird.
Yeah.
The other actress that I really loved in Disenchanted
Mhm.
is Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph was
I-
great.
did she
Maya
do
Rudolph-
well?
Oh, wait, what did she say?
Did she do well?
She
Yes.
did
Yes,
she
amazing.
did.
She is the aunt I wish I
love
had.
her.
I just,
Yeah.
dude, I love her, man. Like anytime she's in a
She's
movie,
so funny.
Yeah.
Maya
I'm in it.
Rudolph,
Yeah.
honestly, I would love if they were to make a Mean Girls 2 where they're older and you made Maya Rudolph the new Mean Girl, because that's essentially what this was.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah.
she was born to play a villain. She
was born-
loved every
She's so
aspect of it.
sassy.
Well, because
Yeah.
She's so
Because
great.
Very
think of it as what was it? Of she is the town mean girl mom, and
Love
she
that.
has
Yeah.
and she has two minion
Did she
moms.
say, "Come here and give me a hug"? And then Amy Adams is like,
No, she's like she's like introducing herself as like the queen and
She's-
everything else.
Yeah, she's
and-
being nice, but she's also she's
Very
throwing
catty.
passive aggressive compliments.
Yeah.
"Love
which
that."
is great.
And she,
yeah.
and she has
Oh,
two
so she's like
minions.
Mother Gothel from Tangled.
Yes.
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 When you just
Oh, I
watch
love
the
that.
movie, it's so
Yeah,
good.
so you see what we mean by like it has great ideas
Yeah.
and it sells itself.
You might not agree with
Okay.
me. Both of you guys might not agree with me,
Yeah.
but it threw me back to Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
You're right.
Yes.
I don't agree with
Oh.
that.
No. But you know what I'm talking
Talking
about.
about her
Yeah.
husband, right?
No.
Or-
The musical number with Amy Adams and Maya Rudolph.
Oh,
That was the best musical number in the entire
That was
movie.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's my thing though, is that for that and also for Andor. So in Disenchanted and also Andor, you can feel that there's a lot of love and care put into those characters.
Extend that a little bit because Disenchanted is based off a movie. It's a sequel that's wanting to take risks but playing it safe.
Yes.
Andor is we take a franchise that's well loved and well known and we're going to put it in a genre that technically shouldn't work for a franchise like this, but it does.
It's a spy movie.
It
it's
is,
a spy TV
yes.
show. That's what it is.
Oh.
Well, how do you explain? That's the thing, and it sucks because like when you look at Disenchanted and then you look at Hocus Pocus 2, it's like where was that?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though is that but that's what but that is what I'm saying though. You have movies like Disenchanted that have great characters, have great musical numbers, have things that are just working, you
Yeah.
know,
Everything works well.
Everything's working together, everything's meshing really well. And then you have the Hocus Pocuses. Then you have the Santa
Yeah.
cuz honestly, I am tired of seeing Scott Calvin losing his powers. It happens in every single Santa
Happens all
Claus
the time.
movie. Happens
Is that the
every
premise
sing-
of the show?
The premise
Yeah.
of the show
Basically.
is that Amazon and other things have taken away from Santa,
Yeah.
and nobody is writing
Isn't
Santa
that the plot
anymore.
of Elf? Isn't that
Yeah.
Elf?
No,
Kind-
When-
kind
kind
of.
of.
When Santa's like, no one knows the spirit.
It's
of
like the third act
Christmas."
of Elf.
It's like the third act of
essentially.
Elf.
Yeah.
But the idea is that
There's
Scott
just
Calvin is
no
now
more
losing
Christmas
he's losing his
spirit.
powers and they're not working, and he's now created these two weird mutant children inside
I know,
of
because-
inside like he has two children inside of
Is
the
it a
North
sci-fi?
Pole. No, he has two children inside of the North Pole, and they're just weird kids, and everybody knows they're weird kids because they grew up in the North Pole. But the problem is that he's losing his powers, so he now has to retire, and so he's trying to find a replacement.
No, okay. I've only seen episode 1, and you know how
Yes.
episode 1 ends, right? I'm gonna say this, and I want you to confirm it. This might be a spoiler.
Yes.
Does Cal Penn become his replacement?
Yes, he does.
No, that's what it was initially. That's
Yeah.
basically what
But
it
not
was.
only that, but
How do we
also-
get Santa to not be white?
But
Yeah.
yeah, but here's the other thing. Hold on. But how exactly do we get Santa to not be white, but also the dark Santa to be bad at his job?
Yes, that's what I was
Because the
thinking.
idea of it is that Cal Penn tries to then use Santa's delivery system of teleporting through
because
portals
he created a product that hasn't been put out yet, and
because
keeps-
he can't facilitate the delivery system.
Yeah.
So now he's going public with Santa, and he's now using Santa's abilities to now deliver things. And then they're like, he's destroying Christmas. We got to go back. And I retired from being Santa too early, and now
Yeah.
he's got to go back and become Santa again.
That's episode 3.
No. That's just the series.
that's the
the
show.
plot of the series.
Oh,
But I'm watching episode 1.
But, like, the first-
and I'm like, and they show Cal Penn, and I'm like, That's
Cowpen's
the
gonna be the new.
replacement.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the new.
which I thought was weird too, because they were like, we're getting candidates to be Santa,
Yeah.
and then like Peyton Manning's there, and they were just like, why is Peyton Manning here? Like,
That was a Tim
he's
Allen
just-
choice,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's probably
Yeah.
a Tim Allen choice
Yeah.
for
It
Peyton
sounds
Manning.
exhausting.
It
It
is.
really is. And then
I only
like,
watched episode 1 and I'm done. I was
I'm,
like,
I'm
Yeah.
watching it
like-
full all the way through just
Ugh.
because I want to see how terrible this
You
gets.
like
You also
pain.
like Christmas.
I
so-
do love Christmas.
Yeah,
That-
I'm in the same boat as
I
you.
love Christmas, but the thing is that I feel like you could have had a better movie of. You could have had the same premise of not many kids are writing to Santa anymore,
Mhm.
and so what Santa is doing is he's going from country to country to then inspire and bring back the
That would've been
magic
cool.
of Christmas.
Yeah.
They kind of did that with the little girl he visits at the beginning. They started it.
That was good, right?
Yeah, that was
that's what-
cool.
that's what I'm saying. That's the pivot. Like you have the pitch where he's like, now, like, oh yeah, like of course the kid, like you grew up and now you order from Amazon and you don't remember Christmas and everything else. I was like, okay, so this is where we're going to be going with this
Yeah.
show, and then a hard pivot of just. I gotta retire and I'm not gonna be Santa anymore. And I'm like, whoa, okay, so we're
Yeah.
just not gonna do this anymore. Because I thought that would have been really special.
Yeah.
And that would have been really cool of like, okay, well, we're going to talk about the magic of Christmas. And it's not just about Saint Nick. It's not about me. It's about, feeling the magic of Christmas and, doing good to everybody else. No, that's not what the show is about.
But see, that's the problem that I feel.
I could have written a better Santa
No,
Claus
seriously,
show.
we all could have.
That's my fear that Disney's that's the direction that I'm fearing Disney's going into, which is the Netflix route of just releasing product after product after product.
They've hit it now.
And exactly, not really putting any heart into it. Because out of those 3 examples, Andor is the riskiest one, but the most beneficial. And I feel
It has
like
the biggest payoff.
studios need to take those risks, especially with existing franchises,
Yeah.
right? So again, Andor wasn't seen by many people. Apparently it's got low numbers, but high ratings. And I don't believe it's because it came out in a time where people just aren't invested in Star Wars. I kind of have a feeling that it's just partially somewhat exhaustion of the franchise. But what do you have to say?
You said something earlier when
Yeah.
we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy special. Thank you. You said something earlier when we were
Yeah.
talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy special, and you're like, it made me excited about Guardians again.
Yes.
And the word is burnout.
Mhm.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
are all burnt out on everything Star Wars and Marvel.
Mhm.
Ever since the end of Endgame, the
The quality hasn't been up there.
when we talked last year about Shang-Chi, that was a really good Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have not been excited about a Marvel movie since then, post Endgame. So I think that we're all like, I think everyone wants to watch Andor, but we're just so burnt out on all of the franchises. I think that Disney's smartest move would be to wait 5 years until they release anything in either of those categories to get us excited
Yeah.
again about it.
They're kind of doing that with the movies. They're not putting out any movies, but they are focusing on
But the shows
yeah.
are, there's too many shows for everyone to watch. Like I watched the first 3 episodes of, what's her name?
She-Hulk?
No.
Or
Miss Marvel?
Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay.
I watched the first 3 episodes. They were so good, but I got so not
just got-
bored
yeah.
because I liked the show. I was just so like, I don't need to watch another superhero show again right now.
That's fair.
But it's because they keep pumping this crap out.
Mhm.
But I do feel that it's interesting too, because I went back to go rewatch some of the Andor trailers, and it really doesn't tell the story of what's going on in Andor.
Really?
And the problem is that in Andor, I can't tell you too much about Andor without spoiling Andor. Because
Interesting.
Andor is a show about not necessarily Cassian Andor, but it's very much a show about how has the Empire hurt the galaxy, and how are these smaller planets
Oh.
suffering under the Empire, and what forces people to then rebel.
You mean to tell me they took a risk and started telling stories that people actually wanted to hear?
Yes.
Wow.
But people don't know because people are burnt out and don't want to give it a chance in the first place.
But that's the thing, though, is that you have these like really cool stories of Andor is, because it has a very small premise. It's a very
Yeah.
easy premise of Cassian Andor is searching for his sister. That's episode 1.
Mm.
because he went to go do because he went to go do that on a planet that he wasn't supposed to be on, and it was an imperial planet, and things ended up happening where 2 security guards get murdered. He is now being hunted by the Empire, and it then leads to him on the run. It then leads to his planet being usurped. The Empire is really like trying to track him down.
Wow.
You have him being imprisoned for not necessarily the crime he committed, but for a fake crime, where because he looks like somebody that was involved in the protest, they arrest him and automatically sentence him to 7 years in jail.
Racist.
But it was interesting because it also had this, but it also had this weird
racist.
industrial, but it also had this industrial complex of like going like when whatever happened, the system is made so that way you never are able to escape jail. Like it was an interesting communication. I mean, not communication narrative of. They're in jail and they're just never going to get out. They're going to work. They're in work camps and they're never leaving. And they have all this power on them where because it's the simplest thing. There's not that many guards, but the entire floor inside the entire jail is all electrified.
Oh,
And none of
that
them
sounds like a horror movie.
yeah, and none of them have shoes on. So they're all barefoot throughout the entire jail. So whenever like a fight breaks out or anything like that, they just turn on the switch and they just electrify the floor.
So
Interesting.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say this, okay? Because you brought up Shang-Chi, right?
Oh, that was a good
It was
movie.
a
Really
great
good.
movie.
I
It's a
actually
great movie.
watched that and I was like, dang, I forgot how good
It's a
that was.
really
great
good.
movie.
Mhm.
But Shang-Chi is a perfect example that you mentioned because what it had that made it interesting is what Andor has, which is
Charisma?
no, somewhat.
That too.
It's the idea of throwing a shot in the dark and hoping that it works.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we can backtrack to something we talked about previously in comic strips, which was the idea of taking that risk and doing something special. If we go far back as a different example, similar to Shang-Chi, John Wick, right? John Wick was one of those movies that came out at a time where it really it highlighted a different perspective or a different way of producing fight scenes in movies.
Yes.
Wasn't so Americanized. It had a lot of Asian influences.
Mhm.
The Raid and IP Man, which is natural fluidity from scene to scene in fight scenes and making those fight scenes believable, right? We haven't had that in the MCU. And Shang-Chi was one of those first movies that did it. The fight scene that happens in the bus is natural, fluid transition
I
from
love
scene
that
to
fight
scene.
scene.
You can
Jackie
also-
Chan influence.
You could also say in
Yes.
Daredevil
Very
that everyone was using the one-shot take fight scene thing.
One shot.
One shot.
That
Yeah.
famous hallway scene
Yeah.
when
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
rescuing the little boy.
I
That's
think it had
such a
2
great
cuts.
scene. Yeah.
But they were hidden
But they
so
were
hidden.
well.
Yes.
That's like really
Yeah,
good.
and they were
Yeah.
really well hidden. But that's the thing though, is that when you make those gambles, but you can put heart and you can put a great story and also a great performances, because the cast of Andor nail it. Like they are so cool. And because you have multiple perspectives. That's the interesting thing. Andor is not about Cassian Andor. It involves Mon Mothma. It involves like the building of the rebellion, Saw Gerrera. It like has all of these pieces that are then morphing together, and it's the beginning of the rebellion.
It's world building.
It's world building of how exactly did we get to episode 4?
It's the world
How do we
building
get here?
of Brian's favorite Star Wars movie ever.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Well, because
I
that's
thought you
the
were
thing.
leading up to a joke, but then it became real.
It was real.
That's the
They
thing,
became
though, is
genuine.
There
there's episodes where you see Mon Mothma and she's talking in the Imperial Senate and she's talking about how people are being punished, how they're being treated, and you just see people tuning out and you just see them leaving, or you see them walking out and not wanting to talk about it, and they're just going, the Empire made us safe. The Empire has saved us. We're making more money with the Empire than we ever did with the Republic.
And that makes it more real as how they got so big in the first place.
But that's
interesting.
Yeah, but it also shows you this weird commentary on the military-industrial act, where it's like,
Yeah,
us
it's like
being
a
at
real world
war-
like narrative.
us being at war is more profitable than us being safe. And it's all okay until it affects me. it hasn't hit my planet yet, and my planet is fine, and it hasn't been ravaged by them scouring it for materials or mining equipment or anything like that. So we're fine. There's no problem that we have.
So
That's fascinating.
to wrap up this topic,
Yeah.
right? Why is it? I'm going to ask this question. Okay, why is it that studios, Disney in particular, right, are so afraid to take shots in the dark with these franchises? It worked in Shang-Chi because it had those influences from Asian movies, from Raid. Bullet Train is another example of that. It took a lot of influences from movies that, really don't have, or that showcased Asian influences again.
Honestly, I do feel that Shang-Chi is a safer movie than you're giving it credit for.
To a point.
There was definitely a market for it.
There was a market. There was a market
yeah.
for it, but
It's
the
a
way,
safer movie than you're putting it out to be.
yes, it's backed by the MCU, but again,
Yes.
it's much more different.
The leaping, it's like karate, like Asian influenced movie versus like the whiteness of Endgame. I feel like that's the leap it took.
I wouldn't
But
say
it-
whiteness. I would say the Hollywood influences, the safe
Like-
Hollywood productions.
The norm
Style.
the
Yeah.
norm style of like action movies.
Yeah.
Where the leap was that, but I think it's so underrated.
That's the thing though, is that also they, because they hired the right people for
Yeah.
it, because it could have been, the same Hollywood, just the same Hollywood movie where they have an action hero or this karate star or anything like that. But they actually did hire somebody who knew martial art, who
Yeah.
mildly knew martial arts.
They
And then he trained his ass off
Yeah.
in order for him to.
the casting is
You know,
impeccable.
So
do what
why
it is.
is Disney not taking more shots in the dark?
It's risky, super risky.
You guys should talk about on the podcast about the whole like switching of the presidents or CEO.
Oh, okay, funny story about that.
So that was actually really funny. That was super funny.
We in the last issue with Rainwater, we were talking about Bob Chapek, basically how he's
Rainwater was complaining about Bob Chapek.
yeah, basically how his entire philosophy for Disneyland is now pay to imagine kind of thing.
Exactly.
You want to go into the parks, you pay. You want to enjoy these aspects of the park, you pay extra. You want to be much more imaginative, pay extra for that.
He's the reason why Avengers Campus sucks.
Okay.
Can I say that?
No,
Yeah,
cancel. It's
No,
over.
No, but honestly, I feel I was telling that to Renee when I first went to Avengers Campus, because I hadn't gone yet, and then I finally went, and I go, Avengers Campus does not feel like a land.
It doesn't feel like Disneyland. It feels like you're at like Six Flags.
Yeah, it feels like it really does feel. You know what? Six Flags is like the best possible thing, where it's just like, okay, cool. We got an area. We put a bunch of billboards up that have.
We put the shows on a
DC?
2-story thing that you can't effing see ever.
Yeah, and we put like the banners up, and then we were just like, okay, we're done.
So
Whereas like
But
if
what
you were
was-
to go to Galaxy's Edge, it feels like a land. It feels like you feel immersed. You can't hear any noises but Star Wars.
what was it that you said about Avengers Campus that you liked so much?
I
better?
liked that I can just sit there and just stuff was happening.
Yeah, there is
I
built
feel-
There's
different.
always
feel
stuff
like-
happening,
yeah.
but the land feels bland. That's
Yeah.
the point I'm trying to make. Where
Mhm.
like there is a lot of stuff happening,
Mhm.
but everything is so boring and like corporate and industrial feeling. Which I get that's what Avengers are, but they could have had a little more pizzazz.
Mhm.
or
It was meant to
details.
sell. It was meant to sell. So we finished recording the issue, and then we get off. We're putting everything away,
And we literally get a Google alert.
and it
Really?
said, "Yeah, Bob
Yeah.
Iger is
That's
now reinstated." And
so
we're like,
funny.
"Where was this piece of
Because
information?"
we put our
3
phones
hours
Exactly.
ago.
we put our phones on because the news broke in the middle of the shoot.
Can you just go on
So our
Google
phones
News and
are-
see
I was
what's
gonna
up
say
right now?
that timeline, it probably happened the day after or something, but that's so funny. That happened during your shoot.
It literally happened
With your
during the
Disney-
shoot. Yeah,
Yes.
and it was so funny because we all read it at exactly the same time because we turned
You're
off
all like, oh,
airplane
crap.
mode, and then we were like, "Oh wow, this happened literally as we were talking about him."
So Renee's gonna go on
It's
Google
so
News real
funny.
quick and just see what entertainment news broke right now.
Entertainment news.
Yeah, entertainment news, 'cause, like,
just
just
Yeah.
listen.
the first thing right now is not
Star
good.
Wars officially canceled. No more. It's over.
But that's the thing though, is that it's going to be interesting to see how Bob Iger changes the parks. It's going to
Yeah.
be interesting how he
I
changes
think-
everything else.
I think, and I hope he's going to be like, we need to rethink Avengers Campus because it means something.
Well, they already said they're extending it. They said they're going to be
Extend-
extending. They're going to be adding more to it. They're going to be taking over more portions of the land.
I'll tell you right now, as a
You know
cast member, there's a lot of space in the back that could make it work.
Oh yeah, from the cast member. I forgot.
that.
As
but
former
all-
cast member, you can't get me now, Mickey Mouse.
I know, but there's that, but there's also all the way up to was it Monsters University, like that? I mean, Monsters.
Hollywood, the
Hollywood backlot.
Yeah, the Hollywood
Was-
backlot area,
Nothing
which
broke?
is
Well, they
nobody's
already-
using.
I mean,
They have Spider-Man. They used to have Spider-Man meet and greet and Captain America at one of the brick buildings.
That's what I'm
before-
saying.
Yeah,
because it leads right into Avengers Campus, so you could
Mhm.
have that entire road be
and the
Avengers
Guardians
Campus.
is already there.
Take down the stage.
So it could
Take it all down.
That's smart.
Instead of it being Avengers Campus, you can call it Avengers Avenue.
Or it could be like New York.
Why are we giving them free ideas? They're not paying us.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah, don't. Bob Iger.
But
You want to be
Bob-
on the show?
But Bob,
You're
if
more
you-
than welcome
if
to.
you steal my
Camera's
idea,
over here.
just Bob, if you steal my idea, I swear to God, I'll find you.
no,
And I
no,
will
no
kill
breaking
you.
news.
No, nothing really.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
we're safe. We're
For
safe
now.
for
Watch.
now.
Yeah.
Sarah, we're done talking about all this. Let's talk about you.
Oh,
Let's
no.
talk about the cosplays that you've done. How has life changed for you over the last year since we've had you? Let's start with the simpler question. That's too much.
I'm like,
oh, there's
well,
so much that has happened.
I just like curl up and like become a little ball under the table and cry.
Don't interview me. So you have slowly but surely have been developing more cosplays. You've expanded your IG and showed off and showcased a lot more of your work.
Yes.
What cosplays, for the people that have not yet followed you on IG, what have you done so far?
Well, okay, so the past year I'm actually quite proud of the things I've done this past year. I did a lot of cosplays that have taken months to make, where in the past I would focus on like speed, where now I'm kind of focusing more on the quality versus how many I can pump out so fast. My first big project, which is actually kind of why I wore this today, is I was in a creative lull, and my fiance John plays League of Legends every day of his life, and he's like, "Oh, there's new shows coming out last December." I think.
Yeah.
Arcane.
Arcane,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You should watch this. You'd really like it. I feel like you'd really like Jinx and the show." So he watched the first like 3 episodes or something. And if you've watched the show, you know that the first 3 episodes are kind of a lot.
It's a hard show to watch.
It's a little heartbreaking. It's very good. But I remember sitting down one day being like, this is so dumb. I'm just going to sit down and watch it. And I was obsessed. So we rewatched it. I cried and finished the show. And I'm like, I have the motivation and inspiration to get back into cosplay. And this was the first big cosplay project I did.
Yeah, you were working on that one for a
about-
while.
It took
Yeah.
3. Okay, the reason for the visual viewers on YouTube, the reason why it took 3 months is because I started off making this, and this took way longer than I care to admit that it took.
Did you get a chance to make her shark rocket launcher?
No,
It's right there.
so that I focused. No, that's on my list, but I focused on the show version of her specifically, not the games. So I made this little duded, and then I made.
She does have the
this.
shark rocket launcher in the show in Arcane at the very end.
At the end, when
Yeah,
she
she has it.
explodes all the people.
Yeah, she has it.
Yes.
When she's fighting like when during the final battle and everything like that with Vi.
Go and put the mic a little
Yes,
closer to you.
you are correct, sir. I wanted to. I don't. Okay, so
You can lift the mic up.
Yeah, take
I can move this over
take it from her.
a little insight is that I have kind of a phobia of wearing like contacts because I've never worn them before. So I cosplaying Powder before she transitioned
The
Yeah.
little hand, I wanted to look at it.
to Jinx specifically. Yeah.
You
Also,
would-
they're very lightweight.
Yeah, I picked it up and I'm like, oh man, this
You
is
would,
like less than a pound.
Brian, I was telling because I think when Arcane came out last year, I was telling you should really watch Arcane.
So you
Have
both
you
have.
watched it yet?
So so that's how the story went. So Nick was
I
trying to
haven't
tell
watched
me.
it yet either.
Nick was like, you should watch it. You should watch it. And I'm like, I hate League of Legends. The community sucks. It's dumb. Then out of nowhere, you come in and you're just like, you should watch Arcane. I'm not into League of Legends, but oh my God, it's so good. And I'm like,
It's really good.
what I was
Sure.
telling Brian is that League of Legends is a
Sucks.
garbage game
yeah.
with a lore that it does not
Dude,
deserve.
you're pissing off all the franchises,
you are
man.
so right.
It's a terrible
are
game.
so
It's a terrible
correct.
game with an in-depth lore.
The lore,
That's so good.
the character building and character design are flawless.
They're so well thought out for a
Yes.
garbage game.
Can we change that?
So-
so
Yeah.
you got to clarify. It's the community that's kind of
community
garbage.
is awful.
it's
No.
Okay, it's the community. It's the actual game itself. I've never actually played a game of League of Legends where I haven't gotten yelled at, or I haven't yelled at someone. Where it's like no one ever goes, I'm gonna have a good time playing League of Legends tonight.
You didn't do your job. You didn't cover the lanes.
That
Why
is
didn't you do this?
Fairly accurate.
Nobody has ever gone like, oh, I'm gonna relax by playing League of Legends tonight. No, you need heart medication to continue playing League of Legends. Like, you have heart palpitations.
For me, when I heard of League of Legends, it was like 10 years ago. Like someone explained to me like the characters and certain characters and like the lore, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, and I said, it's a game. They go, yeah, and they showed me the gameplay. I was immediately turned off.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do that.
The
Like,
animatics that they do are stunning,
Yeah.
but it doesn't reflect the actual gameplay.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Have you last year when around that time there was a pop-up that was around. It was called Studio 31.
I didn't go to that.
I did.
How was it?
It was so much fun. I have never had so much fun being in an interactive like theater type thing of like you are now going to participate.
Oh, that
Until
was the thing
then.
you told me.
I was telling you to go to it because it wasn't that bad. It was like only like $60-$70 to go to.
It wasn't.
And the entire idea was you're trying to steal drugs. So you know the drug in Arcane, what's it called?
Oh gosh, it's oh my god, what is it called? And it turns the guy into the rat thing.
Yeah,
and
so
oh my god,
the
what's it
idea is
called?
that you're split up into 4 different teams.
It's not Shimmer. It
is Shimmer.
Is it Shimmer?
Yeah, it's Shimmer. Okay, so you're split up into 4 different teams, and you're all trying to get the most amount of Shimmer throughout the night by solving puzzles and by meeting. And you have to like do meetups, or you have to do this mission to then get into a specific
it's like an
office.
escape room,
It was like several escape rooms put into one room.
That's badass.
And then you had to like go to the bar.
That's not a cuss word.
Like one of the best things was that you had to go up to the bar, and because our contact knew the bartender, you can go up and he would give Shimmer, and you had to go up, and then you had to like show your sign, and then he would then go, okay, cool, come over. Yeah, that was very much it. And then but also the guards couldn't catch you with Shimmer, or else you'd be put in jail, and they would take your Shimmer away. So it was.
And if you're caught with too much Shimmer, they put you down for real.
Say
But it
Shimmer
was,
again.
but that was the thing though, is because they did have a Jinx. They had Jinx was there.
No, I saw.
They had everything. They had all the characters that were all there. I remember there was one where there was a safe that was put up during the entire thing, and me and my buddies had to devise a heist in the middle of one of the plays that was going on in the middle, where we're now trying to unlock it as the play is going on. We're able to snap it open. We steal like 6 barrels of Shimmer, and we're trying to run back to our home base, and like we just get surrounded by guards. And they were like, put it down. And then we put it all down, and we were like,
and then Nick woke up and realized it was all a
it
dream.
was it was cool though.
Actually
all
on
simulation.
Shimmer.
It was all this thing. God.
No, but it was so interesting because then there was this one moment where people are pushing a button back and forth, and they're just like, what is this button doing here? Like it's a thing. And I told my buddy, I go, on the other side, I saw something open. When they push the button, nobody's noticing. So I go around, push the button, and I'm gonna pull the Shimmer out.
Whoa.
And then literally I go around, he pushes the button, and then this guy's like trying it out, and he's like, it's not opening up. And I go, hey, can I give it a try? And the guy's like, yeah. And he just goes, my buddy pushes it, and I open up the box, and I pull out Shimmer, and the guy's like, how did you get that?
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh, all right, thanks, guys. And I walk away. So those interactives, especially for Arcane, were amazing.
You know what we should do with this whole conversation? They just gave me an idea. The 3 of us should go into an escape room and film it all and see what it would be like.
That would be so cool.
Nick
for
would
you
take over.
guys.
Nick and I would fight.
Yeah.
Nothing gets done. Renee,
I
you're in the
feel
corner
a lot
crying.
of screaming.
You know what you know what the sad part is? I do think it would just be a lot of screaming.
It would.
Why don't you listen to me, Nick?
Yes.
Because you don't have any ideas, Brian.
Yeah.
No, but I just think it would be really funny because I have a feeling like either me or Brian would be on the right path, and then one of us would be talking down to each other, and then we would just stop and then just go like, all right, fine, do it. Just do it. And
Yeah.
then eventually we
Find out, yeah.
Yeah. Then we get down the same path that the person was already on, and he's like, really? I didn't know that it was gonna do that.
All right,
But
so
that's besides the point.
That's fine. So you've done Jinx. Jinx was your first big one that you took a pretty long time to do, but you also did another League of Legends cosplay
I did.
with more detail
Yeah.
that almost broke you?
Yes, it took 3 months of my life. I painted in my old apartment. I built a canvas that I think it was like 6 feet by 9 feet, and I painted a full recreation of the background splash art of the Camille Arcana skin from League of Legends. So I did a
Nice.
whole mural of that, and then I also built the whole cosplay, and then I also built a set because she's sitting on like a throne thing, or she's levitating on a throne
You
thing.
said Camille's arcane costume.
Arcana.
Okay. Look
It's
it up.
kind of like influenced by like tarot cards
Yeah.
and like magic and stuff. But I just fell in love with the Art Deco. It just was beautiful, so I just wanted to recreate it. So that took from probably February to June.
That was 5 months when you finished it?
No, it was March to June. March to June, because I finished Jinx in February. So March to June, that was all I did. And I still want to do more mural cosplays, but they take so much time.
No, you spent a very long. That was the thing is that
Yeah, so I recreated that whole image.
you have all this on your Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so people can go check them. Where can they find you on Instagram, by the way?
My Instagram is Sarah What the Heck, because my last name is Heck.
There you go. So
Sarah
you can
What the
go
Heck.
check out all the cosplays she's done on her Instagram so you guys can see what she's talking about, because this one was pretty great.
Yeah.
It still is pretty great, because I think you showed video as you were developing and making it, but when I got the opportunity to see it in person, the detail was just out of this world. It was crazy.
I don't know why I did that to myself, but I did it.
You like doing it. It was great.
Well, I thought it was interesting because you are one of the fewer cosplayers that now are making everything by hand to be as realistic as possible. Whereas, like, you know, we had people like Stephanie earlier this month, and she was like, "Oh, well, I order a lot of pieces."
Brittany.
or Brittany.
Brittany.
Sorry,
A lot of people.
was like, who's Stephanie?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
sorry.
kind of like, who's
Brittany.
Stephanie?
Brittany.
Brittany. But yeah, so we had in which, you know, she was saying, oh yeah, like I order a lot of pieces, or, you know, I get it fitted, or I have a person that specifically makes my pieces or anything like that. So it's really interesting, especially because with those weapons, you know, if you're taking them to cons or if you're taking them to anywhere else, you made them so light that it has that in mind. So if I want to carry it around, it's not that hard.
Do you want to know what they're made out of?
I'm imagining it's cardboard.
It's a lot of cardboard and then kids craft foam that I painted over. And then this one specifically, it is an igloo beverage container in there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
you
funny.
see, this is the handle from the beverage container. These are 3 like dollar mops from Walmart.
Yeah.
And then the rest is cardboard, foam, and magic.
But you know what's really, really cool about it? It looks so together. Like it
'Cause
doesn't look like it's, you know, piecing off. It just looks like it's one solid piece, which I think that looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an actual prop. It looks like a solid prop.
Mhm.
Is
It
what
looks
you've made.
like better props than was on it that were on Halo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the unfinished wood freaking thing.
Yeah.
God.
yeah. I'm blown away by, you know, the amount of, you know, care and detail. Like even
2 months of my life, baby.
well, because like I don't know if you could see it from the camera, but like you can even see like on the bevel of your handle on the very back,
Oh yeah.
you can see, you know, skulls
There's
and,
a
you
little
know.
skull, little man, and then on this side there's like a vent. And then these are actual metal, so I have a harness that you can like strap on, and you can strap it to you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And walk around with it,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah. So it's light enough, but it's still structurally together,
Yeah.
which honestly, that I would imagine that takes a lot of engineering and a lot of trial and error.
It's people are like, "How do you do what you do?" And I'm like, I don't know. If you ask me to make that again, I don't know how I did that. I just kind of did it. It's a lot of winging and seeing if stuff works, and if it does, I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Well, you also it was like last Halloween you were Harley Quinn and you created the javelin, which looked amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Okay, so a lot of my cosplays I try to spend the least amount of money as possible, and it's kind of a challenge to myself to see what I can make out of stuff I have,
Mhm.
or literal trash,
Mhm.
or like things I find around the house.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of. I think it's so much more fun than just like buying every specific thing that I would need, and it's more fun to be like, how do I figure this out?
How long did it take you to make John's polka dot man costume along with
Oh,
your
yeah.
Harley?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was so fun.
That was great. That was a,
Yeah.
that
He
was a
looked
good piece.
amazing.
Because he looked
Yeah.
really good as polka dot man.
Yeah.
He did.
Like, it looked
he
solid.
looks
It looked
like
solid.
the actor. With him shaved, he looks like
Yeah.
So that one we did buy a jumpsuit, but it was white. So I took out the dye and re-dyed it about 3 times, and I finally got the perfect color. And then I just painted all the dots on. The helmet was like a kid's like prop that I had to like make fit his head better. And then the goggles were like some generic steampunk goggles that I painted. But that one was one of the only costumes I've done where we actually bought the base, because if I was gonna make that from scratch, it would have been a lot of work. But the dyeing part of that took probably 2 weeks because the color wasn't right, and I was like, the color has to be right, because I don't have OCD in any aspect of my life except cosplay, because I like to create like as accurate things as I can. But every other part of my life in my room is a complete mess, except my cosplay.
Well, because I noticed also, like, because technically in Jinx's costume, there's a lot of metal. And I see you've used like cardboard or plastic in specific
foam.
ways.
So if you touch it, it's squishy.
Is it squishy?
Yeah.
So you can squish it.
Oh yeah.
The only things that aren't are the actual little studs, because they're like punk studs that you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, I made those out of construction paper. That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even on like your outfit, like you have like a lot of like metal pieces that you've turned into plastic, right?
So this is foam.
Uh-huh.
I bought actual like, what's it called, grommets, and then I hated the way they look, so I just like hot glued foam on top, and then all of this is foam and also leather that I had laying around.
I just so happen to have leather,
Yeah.
you know.
I have like
Listen, her and John do things, okay? You don't need to know what they need
No,
the
it's
leather for.
literally-
It's just there.
It's literally a sheet of like raw leather that I was gifted by a friend. Probably
I thought you were
10
gonna
years
say like
ago.
I slaughtered a cow and
I
took the
killed a
leather.
cow.
Mandy's
and
the
I
same way. She
skinned
has
it
like random
myself.
fabrics.
I know how to
that
do
she
it. I got
has.
the cow's neck.
When you, like Mandy, when you
Yeah.
do cosplay, I have a closet space that's just random things that I've accumulated.
Yeah.
I'm sure she has one as well. That's just
Yeah,
like fabric
she has
and
like a certain
zippers.
area. Yeah, she has this like certain area that she has like just fabric that she's just sitting on, but she's waiting to use. and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
So-
So
the same thing.
I don't know if I asked or if we asked you this question. Stop it. Behave yourself, Nicholas.
just playing with it.
I'm not doing
Don't
it.
shoot me, all
I'm
right?
not stopping you from
Jeez,
talking.
man.
Just,
So I don't know if we stop. You're distracting me. So I don't know if we asked you to stop. If we asked you that, thank you. I don't know if we asked you this
Jesus.
question the last
That
time
got
you were on.
dark.
But how early did you start making things like from scratch? Because the other interesting thing is you're actually because you're going to be a part of the wedding party for Andy and I. And everyone who is in the wedding party on Andy's side is buying their dress.
Yeah.
Sarah,
Hold on, are you making your dress?
You know what? You told me this earlier, and I'm like, I'm not shocked at that. I was like,
no one, that's
Yeah.
the thing is that we're just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of believable.
Yeah. Well,
but like,
okay.
you're the only one that's making it. I'm like, yeah, I could see it.
Was Sarah the only one that was like, oh, I can make that?
Well, okay.
Andy spent $800. I can probably spend like 20 and do the same thing.
My wedding dress, I'm spending $200 on.
Are you making that yourself too?
We're buying a base for cheap, and we're gonna zhuzh it up because that's how I roll. I was like,
But,
gotta have
Yeah.
your.
but that's
flair.
that's the benefit of having those skills. though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
yeah.
You know.
And also, I just refuse to spend that much money on a dress I'm going to wear for 3 hours. So
No, that's understandable.
She's
Like,
gonna
yeah.
put away for years after that.
No, but like, cause like even that, like when Andy talks about how she went through the process of buying her dress,
her
it's
dress
special.
is stunning. Your
Okay,
dress
well,
is stunning.
how about
Love
we
you.
just
Sorry.
let me experience it when it happens next month, all right?
Yeah, let him cry. Okay,
I'll probably pass out.
you are gonna cry. Yeah.
Stop, dude!
You will.
Don't sell me out on camera.
Oh,
No,
dude,
you
you're gonna
will.
blubber.
Yeah,
You're gonna be.
you're gonna cry. You're gonna
You guys
cry
haven't
when
seen the
see
dress,
him.
have you?
No,
Okay, so then you don't know.
no, but we know you.
But I know
You're gonna cry when you see Andy. You're gonna cry when you
You
hear the
were
speeches.
hold on, you
Like,
were
you're gonna-
unconsolable for Spider-Man. I can only imagine what about like when your like future bride walks down the aisle, like
This is why I'm so reserved, all right? This is why I don't like
Dude,
I put my emotions out there.
what What do you mean you don't like putting? It's not our fault that you just like that's not us. We don't
We
do that
love
to you.
Brian.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, like that's just how you react. So
We're
we
just
know.
prepared for that to happen.
So what are you guys?
I'm gonna have a handkerchief ready.
Oh
Huh?
yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
Just pull that crap out.
Just
So
like-
what are you
No,
guys gonna?
I'm gonna have the clown one. I'm just gonna have the clown one. But just, it's the infinite one. So
And
you
then
can
all the groomsmen use it at the same time.
Yes.
I love that.
So what are you guys gonna have like amongst the Kingsmen that are in my
Yeah.
group? You guys are gonna be like, okay, so when Andy comes out,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have John be right behind him, all right?
Yeah.
Renee, you're gonna be on the side. You're gonna get his arm in case he flops the other way. Nick, you're gonna stand in the other way, all right? And then Stuart, he'll be like,
Yeah, we'll have some smelling salts ready for you.
See, we have to talk about it with the other groomsmen, so that way we can weekend at
Kingsmen.
Bernie's him.
Kingsmen.
So that way we can weekend at
Can you
Bernie's
change
him.
your language, Kingsman?
Fine.
I went through that
When the-
process,
when the
okay?
king- when all the Kingsmen are there, we can then tie his
Brian's
wrists.
pronouns
just-
are Kingsman, not groomsmen.
But yeah, so but that makes sense though. Why would I spend all this money? Because I'm assuming you spend a lot of times at thrift stores.
I used to a lot, yes, but now
Middle school.
it's
Get a lot
it's
of
my garage, and because we have a lot of fabric boxes in the garage, and
Uh-huh.
it's Amazon and then Joann's maybe for like 30 minutes, and I'll go with the clearance section specifically, and I'm like, I can make that work.
Okay.
Now, here's my question: is there a character that you haven't done yet that you want to do?
Yes, several. The first one I want to do Dolores from Westworld.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which
I-
one?
Which one?
The both. So I want to do the blue dress.
Season
Okay.
one.
So
yeah.
the reason why I haven't, I already have the wig,
Okay.
but I haven't made it because I want to not spend a buttload of money on the fabric. So I want to like try to thrift like a blue bed sheet of like that color or something. Or
I have wanted to do the Man in Black. The Man in Black one.
God,
That's
that'd
such
be
a
so
good
awesome.
You just gotta age yourself a lot.
yeah.
But I mean,
Can't
it's-
happen until like 80 years from now.
I'm okay with that. I'll put it in the closet, and then when I'm like 70 years old, I can use that at cons.
Yeah.
I'm the Man in Black. No one will know what Westworld is about at that point.
Dude, season
it's-
1, that means it's a classic.
Season one is
Season 1 is
a
perfect. It's perfection.
season of television. And the second one is good but not great. And then the third, I was like,
Well, there's a
what is
reason why it got
happening?
canceled.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
reason it got
Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Everyone stopped. caring
Season
after
1
season
was
two.
Season
written
one
by
is
the
perfection.
one of the greatest screenwriters of all time, the better Nolan. That's all I'm gonna
Better
say.
know.
Well, I mean, it also had better actors.
Yeah, but the better Nolan was working.
You
on it.
have Sir Anthony Hopkins in
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
That's true, but also better Nolan.
After season 1, you don't have Sir Anthony Hopkins, and like everybody else is really struggling to carry that show.
Yeah.
So what's the other character you want to do?
Off the top of my head. Okay, so Dolores is like pretty up there. Dang, put him on the spot. I can't think right now. There's so many.
Actually,
dang it!
we forgot to mention one that she recently did, Sally.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, you
Okay,
Yeah.
so fun fact. I've had all of the materials, fabric, and wig and shoes sitting in a cardboard box
Yeah.
For Sally?
for Sally since 2011.
Wow.
Really?
It's all scraps that I found in my garage again because we've always had fabric there because my mom and grandma both sew. So I've had everything in a box since 2011. And when John and I were moving back to Whittier, I found the box and I was like, I should just make this.
I was gonna ask,
So
like, what finally pushed you to kind of like,
It was-
I gotta do this.
I
now.
don't have a place to store this box. I'm just gonna do this real quick. That's what's the
Can't
motivation.
put it away. Might as well make it.
So
Yeah.
what happens to all of the, like, do you have a closet where you just put all your cosplays, or do you use them for a while, then dismantle them and use them for other cosplays and recycle?
I never reuse stuff that I make. When I make something, I store it because I don't want to lose the ability to wear it again eventually. In our old apartment, we had 3 closets for some reason, which is crazy. So John had a closet, I had a closet, and then I had a closet for specifically all of my cosplay and art stuff. Where we're at now, it's a little harder to store stuff, so I have to kind of pick and choose how to store stuff, what goes in the storage unit,
Mhm.
all that. But no, I don't ever reuse. I reuse wigs sometimes if it's not
mean,
like
yeah,
I'm
it's a wig.
chopping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a few that I've built on like Jinx. I could never reuse that for another costume because it's so
You had to
Wild.
hand make that one, right? Like, or not hand make it, but you had to do something special
I had
to
to
it, right?
combine 2 wigs, and then there's a lot of hot glue and styrofoam to make the bangs happen. So
Yeah.
that'll only be Jinx. But if it's just like hairspray, you can reuse wigs as many times as you want. Like,
Because the other one I've always thought was really cool is Party Jinx,
oh,
like the rockabilly Party Jinx.
Yeah.
You can look that one up. That's actually a really sick one. But you can kind of reuse some stuff.
Yeah. No, like repurposing stuff, but I would never like say I needed these gloves for a different cosplay. I would never take them fully apart.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So yeah, Sally was super fun. It's weird to talk about numbers, but that one blew up the F up on Instagram, and I don't know why.
Because it's Sally. And that's the thing is, because we were talking about this with Rainwater last week, where sometimes you make content you really put a lot of work into and it doesn't blow up.
That one took 10 minutes, and I thought it was awful.
And then it's the stuff that's super simple that'll blow up. But it's
Yeah.
the context that's behind it, right?
That's it.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people... Which
Mhm.
one?
Yeah, that's
that's
like
the-
her OG skin, isn't
That was
it?
the OG skin. I'm trying to think of like the rockabilly one because she
Oh.
has like a
Is
rockabilly.
it the one with the orange hair?
Yeah,
that
she
one's
has.
like post-apocalyptic, kind of.
Is it the post-apocalyptic? Because it's the one where she has like all the cupcakes and stuff like that around her. It's like
Oh,
it's a
gosh.
specific like art.
I've looked at all of her skins, and I can't think of that.
Because she has like a rockabilly like skin where her hair is very poofed up. It's very Elvis-esque.
I'm trying to think of it. I don't know off the top of my head.
Did you type it incorrectly, Renee?
No, I just put
Is it?
Jinx party skin.
So yeah, so Sally was super fun to make, and then the most recent one I did was bewitching Janna from League of Legends.
That's right, with the
With the
lantern staff
Yeah.
on the
So
top. Yeah.
that one I specifically like. I always take too long to make cosplays because I just am a perfectionist when it comes to cosplays. But again, in no other aspect of my life, it's just costumes.
There it is.
If we didn't
Um,
sell people...
Oh, that's so cute.
It's like a rockabilly kind of like.
I've
party
never seen
Jinx.
that skin. I love it.
If we haven't sold people on the fact that they should be following Sarah on IG to see the
Absolutely.
different cosplays that she's done, I will tell you right now, what you post on your Instagram, the journey that you go through with your cosplay is interesting because when you work on something, you'll always show off the idea. You'll let people guess what it is. And then the journey and development is always interesting because there's even points. I think it was with one of these props while you were working with Jinx, you kind of scrapped something because you couldn't do it. There was a part or a different cosplay you were working on where you just said like,
no, you're right.
you like went like, oh, this doesn't work. I'm going to start
Oh, no,
over.
no. It was the Janna one because so bewitching Janna. So from the beginning, I wanted to do like a Halloween themed cosplay, and I wanted to challenge myself to do it in about 3 weeks because I don't do that, and that's like crazy for me. So that the prop that she has, which is like an upside down broomstick, I hated the way the base was coming off. So when I do when I make things, it starts off with like a 2D drawing of the shape of the thing, and then from there I cut that out of like cardboard or foam board, and then I find a way to make it 3D where it be like individual pieces of foam board that I like hot glued to the thing, and then I build off of that with like the structure. So that's what I was kind of doing for the broomstick, and I hated the way it was looking. I hated the proportions. I hated all of it. And I was like, I think I put like stories up of me like throwing it like across the room or something. 'Cause
Something like
I was
that, yeah.
over it. But then I took a break for like a day or two, and then I came back and I was reinvigorated, and I was like, F it, I'm gonna make this happen. So yeah, I think because I do stuff from scratch, I do hit like lulls and like low points of, wow, this looks really bad, but I have to get in my head and be like, no, stop, you can make this work, you got this, probably. And then I try to make it happen. That's my process.
It's great to have you on again because I think that we've covered like all different aspects of cosplaying, right?
Mhm.
Brittany buys her things but knows connections,
Yeah.
and she knows how to like showcase the cosplays
Yeah.
and put the products out there
Yeah.
well enough that it's appreciated, right?
Mhm.
Then you have Cece, who we had on last year, who
She is fast.
she's fast,
She pumps shit out.
but you get two sides of it because she, like Brittany, she buys some of those things, and then the other side is that she makes a lot of her stuff.
Mhm.
And then we have your side of it, which is dumpster dive for stuff and spend the least amount of money possible to make really great cosplays.
Exactly. That's
But
what I do.
If anything, what this should showcase to people is that cosplay can be for anyone at that point.
Any price range, any age range, any body type, you make it work for what you want to do.
How much would you say your entire Jinx outfit cost you? Like if you had to put it
$60.
$60.
That's really good.
That's
Okay.
including the wig, the shoes. I'm not gonna take them off because I don't know if my feet smell. But they're literally 10-year-old boots that are falling apart as we speak that I repurposed for the photo
Can
shoot.
you show one? Show one.
Camera's over there, by the way.
Yeah, just
So these are really old boots. This is all foam. You can see like the fabric is literally falling apart because these are just ancient. And then this is leather that I like sewed on.
I mean, I'm only seeing the sole of the foot, so I don't see anything.
Yeah.
It's just the bottom of the boot. That's all it
She
is.
have any gum on the bottom?
No, it's pretty worn out though.
No, but again, to the point is like I go through. Oh, also the pants were a pair of like old pants that I had that I was like, I can make this work. And it's just a lot of like seeing potential and crap I have around the house. Like that's what it's like recycling in a weird way.
How many hours went into this one?
Oh my God.
Because that's the thing.
Over 100.
See-
Over 100.
Because I feel like that's where the
Oh, maybe like even 150. Because it's like every day after my full-time job, I would come home and work on it for 4 hours. And then weekends, I did a lot of weekends solely doing that. And that was over March to June. So
and that's
a lot of
combined with
hours.
everything, right? Making the guns,
Everything.
making the outfit, making
The
tooling,
wig, yeah.
tooling the hair, doing everything else you gotta do. Because I feel like that's the separation. It's really easy to crank stuff out when it's bought.
Mhm.
When you have that, it's already made. You can immediately, as soon as it comes in the mail, I just have to make sure it fits. Maybe crimp it a little bit.
But there's
so that way
nothing wrong
it
with
styles.
buying those
No,
things.
no,
Like, that's the
absolutely
thing.
And
Yeah.
you can also crank. You could make something that looks like this in a day. I just don't operate like that because I'm a psycho person. And
Well,
I put too much time into my craft.
Well, but the thing is, because we were even talking to Brittany about that, because she was saying like, oh yeah, I made something in probably an evening, but it was falling apart by the next day. With use and everything else, because it wasn't made to be used. It was meant to be shown. Take a couple of photos really quick, and then
Oh, for sure. The shoes.
There's a
shoes
lot of
were
props. There's a lot of props that like we own. You own the Captain America Winter Soldier shield,
Mhm.
and then the Dark Saber.
Mhm.
Like it's interesting to see like those products. You got to take care of them like really, really well. As they get dinged or scratched or anything.
Mhm.
You've had this for over a year, and it's still
It's not
it's solidly made.
it's
Solid, yeah.
solidly made, but so craft foam is a double-edged sword because it looks great, but it does get dinged up a little bit, where
But-
you can see like the yellow in some parts. But it's
But the
a
thing
that
is, it's like
adds
where
on.
But it
yeah.
adds on wear to the actual like
Mhm.
to.
Well, you could
to
see like
prop.
the yellow on here of where it's coming out. But again, I think
kind
that
of adds to it.
it does. And I think
That's
that
what I'm
what's
saying,
so interesting about pieces like this that you've made is that I think the overall picture is what's just so astounding, that the smaller details like the nicks over here that kind of show off that it's foam, it doesn't really matter at the end. So yeah,
'cause-
you get all sides of
Mhm.
cosplay, and it's interesting
Yeah,
to
because
see it.
honestly, I think if you were to like probably go on Etsy or even
People,
online,
I've seen people 3D print these, and they
Yeah.
look fantastic.
yeah,
yeah.
and you can 3D print it. But I think you could probably sell that thing for probably like $100.
A kidney.
I don't want to sell my.
No, but I'm just saying.
The quality, yeah.
But what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
it took you a lot of time and effort, and
Mhm.
but the quality is there.
But also, by no means is what I make perfect, because like from far away in photos they look great, but if you look up close, like there's messy as
But it
f
works.
edges. It's
But
not,
again, that
it's-
adds it to just
Yeah,
the
it's
aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, if you were to look at that and then go like, oh, like the painting is weird, or even like the brass is a little bit yellowed. Luckily, it's brass, so that is a color that goes within
Mhm.
brass. The painting, Jinx is a psychopath, so
same.
so messy painting would have it fits,
Mhm.
and it looks like you've been able to wisely hide the mistakes in certain areas.
That's high praise. I'll take it. Thank you. Let's pretend that was supposed to be that way.
So we have to wrap up the show because
Yes.
we've already hit the hour and a half. But Sarah, we want to thank you once again for being back here at Keeping Up with the Nerds with issue 125. It's always a pleasure having you. It's always great to have you in skits. And hopefully we get to have you soon again so we can go ahead and talk more about the cosplays that you've done.
I'll be back
over the year.
anytime to talk about anything and everything with you.
No, and in all honesty, we want to thank you for, being a listener as well, being a fan, because, you came in last year and quizzed us on everything we've done. And it's only motivated us. No, which is great. It's only motivated us to keep going. And I say that because before we wrap up the show, I think we should shout out someone that you basically ran into. Yeah, a little story.
I don't know who they are, but I was.
You didn't get a name?
No, I didn't get a name. They were walking
caught 'em
the
by
opposite
surprise.
direction. Yeah, I was walking to Starbucks right here.
Renee's
and,
famous.
And basically, I was walking up. I got here in Uptown early because we're doing the Black Friday sale and stuff like that. So I was walking up, going to Starbucks, and then next thing you know, I had this married couple walk by me. But I'm listening to music with my headphones on, so I'm not paying attention. I'm just kind of like in my zone and stuff. And just the wife kind of goes in front of me and goes, "Hi, he watches your show," and I'm like, "Oh." It really threw me off because I was like, I wasn't expecting that at all. And like, I was like, oh, cool. Thank you. And then he's like, yeah, how you doing, man? I'm like, I'm doing good, and stuff like that. And he just kind of just kept walking and stuff. I was like, okay,
The Whittier
cool.
Famous Keeping Up with the Nerds podcast show.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, go Renee.
You haven't had that happen to you yet. I haven't had that happen to me yet.
No, that's not true. I had it at your birthday.
Oh, with Sean, probably.
No,
Or who?
With somebody else.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
What?
That did happen at your
No,
birthday.
we'll talk about it later.
Someone knew me from the show?
No,
No.
me.
Someone did
Oh.
the same thing to him.
So
It was
I
at
haven't
your
had that
show.
yet.
You haven't had it yet. Yes, you're not famous yet.
Not
Sorry.
yet.
Yeah.
Nah, it's okay.
How funny would it be if we go to LA Comic Con and be like, you're Brian!
The important thing is the talent has been recognized.
That's okay. You know what? I work behind the camera. I'm all cool with that. I'm the
Yeah.
I'm the
Sounds
brains. All right, you guys are the bronze. I'm the brains. I'll take that.
That was a dig on yourself. I'm just brains. You guys are everything else.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 125. Once again, go check us out at keepingupwiththenerds.com. All the up-to-date information will be on that website. Follow us on our socials on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not, so you guys can see all the things that happen here on the show. It's the live viewing of it. If you are on your way somewhere, working out, just wanting to listen to us audio only, you guys can find us on our audio platforms as well. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Spotify. Before we wrap up, Sarah, thank you for mimicking everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Sarah What the Heck.
At Sarah, what the heck, SARH.
SAREH. Sarah What the Heck.
There you go.
Yeah.
You had like a little.
I did. I was trying to spell it out. I was like, but once again, thank you so much for joining us.
And also
Anytime.
thank you for finishing off our month of guests. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Thank
With
you
this-
for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
A two-timer over here now.
Yeah, when we come back next
I'm
week.
a veteran.
When we come back next week, we will have gone to which will we be
LA Comic Con.
just
Comic-Con.
going to Anime Expo.
Yeah.
LA Comic Con.
I
I
mean,
don't
LA
attend Weeb Central. All right.
Sorry. Well, we just have attended LA
You know there's gonna be
Comic Con.
weebs at LA Comic Con.
Dude, there's gonna be so many.
There's gonna be so many.
Cool.
I'm gonna make you talk to all of them.
Those are the people that Brian will be interviewing.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, so
only-
which animes do you watch? I don't watch animes. I
I'm
watch
not a weeb.
Japanese cartoons.
I just want to see you get beat up by one of them. I'm just like,
All right, you ready? I'm doing a jiu-jitsu.
I just know you're gonna say something dumb and someone's gonna be offended. They're
Well,
gonna.
you watch Dragon Ball, right? Well,
Oh, yeah, that Mexican
but I watched-
cartoon?
I watched it in Spanish. So pretentious.
I know.
Oh my god.
All right, we ready to wrap up the show?
Highest class of Mexican cartoons.
126 will be LA Comic Con, ladies and gentlemen. Check us out next week. With that said, we're going to wrap up this show. This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 125. My name is Brian.
Renee.
And Nick.
Sarah.
Sayonara,
Oh my gosh.
We'll see you all next time.